We have with us for our chat Derek Rotty. Derek is just a wonderful writer. He's a freelance author. He lives in Jackson, Tennessee with his wife and 5 children. He has advanced degrees in history and theology. He's written so many wonderful articles. But I want to get to his book that we're talking about today because I think it is a wonderful prayer experience. And it's called Praying with Sacred Art. And so, Derek, welcome. I'm just so nice of you to take time to be on this morning in your busy schedule. But also, I want to jump right in. Tell our audience what Visio Divina is about and why you decided to write a book on that. And it is a great prayer experience. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me this morning, Pat. So Visio Divina literally means divine sight or divine looking, and it's related to Lectio Divina, which is divine reading. So your listeners probably have understood the process of taking the scriptural text and making it a focal point of prayer. Well, what I've done in this book is take a series of images and make them paintings from the history of the church, the church's rich tradition, and make them focal points for a prayer, for a conversation with the Lord. And so this book came out of a series of articles that I had been writing that was inviting people to consider particular images that related to particular gospel passages, and just open up that conversation about what are these details of these paintings, what do they speak to me, and how does it allow me to ask questions of God or have Him ask questions of me. That's what Visio Divina is all about.
So, Derek, how long have you been kind of involved with using Visio Divina in your own prayer life?
Well, there have been a lot of experiences of beauty and art, particularly, visual art, particularly.
Sure.
This particular project was begun about 3 years ago when the A cycle of liturgical readings came around, and I proposed to do this series for a website I was writing for, and it turned into a book, and this really is the first time I have done Visio Divina in an extended and systematic way, right? I've done it a lot with my own, just in other topics that I've been dealing with or other lessons that I've been teaching to various groups. But, this was really meant to be a systematic look at how our redemption unfolds from the very first week of Advent all the way through the Feast of Christ the King, the solemnity of Christ the King at the end of the liturgical year.
Yeah, you cover it all in here, don't you? I mean, it's a great, I think it's a great prayer experience from Advent all the way through the year. It's just an amazing book that you put together. How did you choose the sacred art to use? Because there's so much out there on every one of these individual topics that you write about, or gospels.
Yeah, lots of options. So what I would do is I would take the gospel text, especially in Advent and Lent and the Easter season, where the texts are the same every year, basically. And then there's a piece on Jesus's public ministry with his parables and his miracles that, I tried to choose the ones that are most iconic, if you will, the ones that are most memorable for people. So I think of, for example, the prodigal son and the Good Samaritan. Those I had to include those because those are so paradigmatic of Christianity and the Christian, life of discipleship.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would do a Lectio Divina with the gospel passage, and then based on those themes that God spoke to me, I would Google, I would search the particular episode or, the particular themes and see what art came up, and then do a Visio Divina with several pieces or see which pieces brought out those themes best. And yes, I had certain pieces of art that I already knew that I had done Visio Divina with over an extended period of time that I knew needed to be the ones included. But then there were several at least that I didn't have a preconceived decision, and I got to choose something, really unique or something that was new to me. That happened in several cases. I think specifically of the Last Supper, there was one that I wanted to use, and for some reason I couldn't either find it or couldn't use it, and so I had to choose something else. But the one that came out was Rubens, right? Rubens became one of my favorite artists throughout this process because of the way that he paints and the details that are in there. I'll let your listeners go and get the book and read it for themselves.
Yeah. And one of the things too I noticed, Derek, is that you usually have paintings, but you do include in here like icons. You've got, I think, a couple icons, and then you have the Eisenheim, I think it is, altarpiece. Did you choose those for a specific reason, since they're not kind of like the paintings that are in the rest of the book?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I chose the two icons for particular reasons. The one of the Transfiguration I used during Lent, during the Lent section of the book, because I also use Raphael's Transfiguration at the end of the ordinary time section, the public ministry section. So in that particular case, I wanted to do something different than Raphael, right?
Right.
And then the other is the Christ Pantocrator, which is in St. Catherine's Monastery in Egypt, which is a very well-known icon that I just thought really needed to be included in the Easter season based on the Lectio that I did with those texts. I said this icon's got to be there. And then the Eisenheim altarpiece, I wanted to make the point that in Holy Week, in Good Friday and Holy Saturday, and then Easter Sunday, we have the fullness of our faith, and it's the only piece that I used that is not simply a painting or an icon. It's a piece of architecture, but it has art included.
Yes.
And what we see is that you've got Good Friday painted in the painting, and then on the predella you've got Christ's descent into the dead, where he's laid in the tomb, and then where's the resurrection? Right. The resurrection is on the altar in the Eucharist, and that's the point that the artist and the sculptor wanted to make, is that the resurrection is fully present to us in the Eucharist.
Oh, I love that. And I've always loved this piece too because of John the Baptist pointing to Christ. It's like we've come full circle too, from the beginning of his ministry to the end. Derek, I just cannot thank you enough for being doing this little chat with me today about this book, because it really is just a wonderful piece of work on your part. I mean, to actually find these photographs for us, or these paintings for us, and then giving us the ability to reflect on them, and to reflect on them throughout the year. It really does, I think, pull us into contemplation and to see where the Lord is calling us to. So thanks again for writing this book, Praying with Sacred Art, and it is published by Sophia Press. Great book. And Derek, thanks so much for being with us, and have a great holiday season ahead, Christmas and New Year.
Thank you so much, Pat. You too. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.